Hello, this is Dan Erzberger, and today I'll be going over our SoftMax Pro version 7 software. Um, to start with the software, the first thing we need to do is in this top left corner, you can see there's a red circle. This means that the system is not connected to the computer. So once you have your Spectrum Max plugged into your computer, first thing you want to do is click this option here. I'm in a demonstration mode, so I won't be able to pull up the actual reader to connect to here. But once the system right now, you can see it's thinking it's doing a searching on the different USB drives. It'll populate right here. So once you have that option here, just click the appropriate plate reader you'd like to work on. I'll turn mine in simulator mode for now. All right, so the software itself is designed to be a lot like Microsoft. You have all of your controls and settings on the side here. Walking down the left-hand side, you can see that we have our plate. The next option would be our standards, knowns, controls, then our standard curve here as well. So in order to start something from scratch, we have a couple of different options here. This button on the top works like a start. It's a microplate. So here's where you can start new. You can autosave, export, anything like that in this little feature right here. So I'm going to click new and start a new file here. You can see across the top. Here's one I was just at, so we're opening a completely new file. In order to set something up from scratch, we have our acquisition settings up here. It looks like some gears. So for this model here, there's different read modes up top. Right now, I have the 5 different read modes. So the first option I'm going to select is absorbance, and then we also have an endpoint as far as the different read types. So this is going to be a monochromator-based system, so you can select the 6 different wavelengths at a time. Again, with the monochromator-based system, you just punch in whatever you're looking for, and the system's automatically to determine which color would go with that. Then scrolling down here, as far as the plate type. So here's where you can select if you want to do 6 between 3 to 4 wells, again, depending on the model of microplate reader you're using. Here's where you have all of the preloaded options for microplates, as far as which dimensions are included inside the system. If you don't see the one that you'd like to use, you can always just add a plate here and put in your parameters. So these would be supplied by the manufacturer of the actual the plate manufacturer. This isn't an extremely big deal, only when you get into the 3-4 well range. It makes a difference just because there can be quite a difference between the different dimensions of the manufacturer's plates, which, again, you want to be able to tell the system to find the exact center of the well for something like endpoint. So again, once you're in the 3-4 well, it becomes more of a recommendation on that. So in order to set up a protocol, again, so just going down the left-hand side here, read area, you can just drag and drop whatever read area. If you wanted to just run on part of the plate here, half the plate, whatever type of combination you want here, as long as you can drag and drop onto the area. Path check. There's an option here which will normalize your data to a 1 centimeter path length. So this is more if for absorbance. This is a way to account for any differences in pipetting errors or any difference in the volumes that you can see inside of your samples. Shake, if you want to shake before the read, here's where you add that here. Feed read, here's an option if you want to reduce the amount of flashes and reads per endpoint read. I typically recommend just to leave this on just because you get better quality data with this off, but if you are concerned about speed, there's an option for that. Then here's if you're interested in setting up the speed, if you want to read by column over wavelengths, that just makes a difference. If you have like our setting now, we have 6 different wavelengths at a time. You can choose to read each column of the 6 different wavelengths or read the complete plate with each different wavelength, depending on which selection you click here. So kinetics is going to be the same options we had before with the addition of timing. So with the kinetics, you just input whatever you want here for your total runtime. So like, let's do, for example, if you put in 2 hours, read every 30 seconds, so it's going to give you a total of 261 different reads. So you just put your total runtime and then select whatever interval time you'd like. Again, you can change these to whatever you'd like here. Try to put a minute there. But if you put in 45 seconds, anything like that, you can see it's going to change the number of reads it'll take at that point. Also have spectrum scanning. So here's where you can sweep an entire range here for absorbance. So just put your start and your stop, and then your nanometer increment steps. So right now it's at 10. You can change it to 1. It's just a matter of time. How many it's going to read in that range. While well scan, this is going to differ a little bit on which type of instrument you have. So with the M series line, we can do up to 9 different points per well. So you can see in this option here. So this is helpful if you're doing any cell-based assays, anything that's not going to be the exact center, like if you're doing an endpoint, anything that could be on the outside perimeter well. So a good way to capture more data on that. So that's a basic overview of our absorbance, and then going over to fluorescence. You can see it's going to be pretty similar for the different types of ways to set this up. So as far as wavelength pairs, you can do up to 4 at a time if you want to do Fred assays with a total of 4. Again, monochromator-based system, just punch in whatever you're looking for here. This also has an auto cutoff filter. So this is appropriate to use if you have any type of close emission excitation or very close stoke shift in between the two. This option here just makes sure that you get the best data that you can get with the system. So I always just recommend to leave that on. Plate type, that's going to be the same we've used in the past, read area, PMT. So again, with now that we're over to fluorescence, it's going to automatically start our default to a top read. If you'd like to read from bottom, here's the option right here in PMT options to make this a bottom read. So we can select that here. PMT gain. So here's this. I always recommend leaving this on the automatics. It's just in order to prevent either oversaturating your samples or missing a part of your standard curve. If you do with these manually here. Shaking is going to be the same, and then option for that here too be the same. Kinetics, again, it's going to be the same as we're looking at for absorbance, so this will be the same option there. Spectrum scan, the only difference is you have an option to either set the excitation and sweep the emission, or the inverse of that, where you can sweep the excitation and sweep the emission. So whatever option you want there, again, just whatever combination you're looking for. Then well scan here as well. It's going to be that same option that we had before with the well scan, where you can do up to that 9 different density points on the M series readers for that. So that's just kind of a basic way on how to set something up from scratch this way. So once you have your templates, or once you have your parameters set, which you can see on the right-hand side here, we also have a template editor up top. Again, this is this button right here. So once you click this, here's where you can add your standards, your unknowns, your controls, anything like that into this portion here. So for an example, if I want to put my standards in, select a certain area that I have. If I click assign, it's going to make these all the same item here, as you can see, and they're all going to be labeled item 1 or well 1. If you want to make these a series, if you want to do triplicates, the series button here. So start with your X orientation of 3, Y orientation of 1. So I'll put them in triplicates. Then this bottom area here where it says starting value. Here's if you want to run any type of dilution calculation, any type of step down, anything like that. You put this here. So for example, for 1,000, then you can have each set is going to divide by 2. And click OK. So now you can see the label in that triplicate manner that I had before. And if you go up to the top here where it says I'm under sample name, click descriptor. Now you can see the different types of concentrations already set up for you this way. So it's the same concept for your unknowns. If you wanted to assign the series the unknowns, the same here. And then select whatever you have for the plate blanks or your group blanks, like that option there. So then you click OK. Then you can see this will now be in the background of your different plates here. Once you have this set, you can save this option. You can save this as a protocol, which would save your actual template with this, or you can save it as a data file, which would just save the actual results that you're receiving from this. Also, I wanted to go over our, again, start something from new. We also have our protocol manager in place here. So this allows for, there's over 135 preloaded protocols here. This is a great place to start. It's the way this works. So if you just want to pull up something, just for an example here, let's pull up what you're looking to run. It's going to give you an introduction going over how to set this up. It's going to have your plate with your parameters already built on the right side, and then the appropriate calculations already built in for you here. So all you would need to do is then go to this template editor and then set up your plate of how your unknowns, controls, plate lengths, everything like that here. Then this will be this read button right here. Click read to get the actual data. One thing I want to point out too is sometimes you can have Say we're on this left column here. If you wanted to run multiple plates of the same experiment, so you click the new plate button here. Now you can see we have two different plates. Because of that, say you're under standards here, and now all this becomes grayed out. You can't click it. That's just because we have multiple plates here, so make sure you're on the appropriate plate, and then you can tell the system to read this way. Also, you can have a new experiment. So we can see right now I have the same experiment open on the same file. The advantage of this is if you like to save this or export to Excel, so, if you have 3 or 2 or 3 in the same file here, it'll export it all into the same data file rather than having multiple Excel files that way. Temperature control and shaking, all this is found on the front here is kind of the actual physical operation of the system. Again, file, if I want to open something new here. So here's, again, file, save as. So here is the option if you wanted to save this for different types of options here. So for the data file, the .sta, that's actually going to give you the option for the raw data, and then the .spr, that's going to be the protocol file. So that will actually save your protocol, which you can then populate again and put back in the Softmax Pro to run that same protocol over and over. So protocols, again, all this can be found right here in the protocol library, unless you want to add your own protocols here. Operations, again, this is more of a type of integration with our stacking platform or anything like that. Then we also have our workflow editor here too. So say we have those multiple experiments here, multiple different plates. We have this workflow option here. So this allows you to create any type of long-term kinetics read, is what's really good for, or if you have multiple steps. So just to set something up, for example, if you wanted to, you just drag and drop what you like. So start with the shaking. Click here to add how long you like to shake for, and then you can click read. Let me just drop that over. So where it says read, you click this little pencil here. It gives you experiment 1, experiment 2, and then the plate if you have multiple plates. So that is based off of the parameters I set on this plate on this document screen. So then when you click over to workflow again, so I have those 2 different experiments, plate 1, plate 2, whatever I like. Let's say I also wanted to read a different read on the same plate. Do experiment 2 on that same plate 1 there. Then you could put a cycle there. So then you can put things inside of here as well. Okay, I want to cycle this and do these 2 reads for a multiple period of time. So again, this is really good for long-term and type of runs like that. You can also click start here to start this. You can pause this, which is nice. So if you have something that's long-term, someone comes in, you can pause this option right there. So this was just a basic training on the system. Feel free to contact me if you have any other questions or anything in particular you'd like to see. Again, Protocol Manager here is a great resource and has a lot of these already built in to use here. And then again, the settings acquisitions tab here is where it's the meat and bones of setting up all the different protocols you can possibly set here. Well, thanks again, and please feel free to contact me with any questions. Thank you.